Okay, everybody, I think we are live. Let me know if you see this just to confirm that you can actually see me and this worked because I did something. There was an update to StreamYard and I think I set it back up correctly, but you never know. Also, happy Sunday. I think it's a Sunday. Just finishing up my lunch really quick, but I have some notes to go over from last time and some updates. But it has been it's been a week. I don't know what month is it even? March? I don't know how March is treating you all, but I'm on to I think my daughter's been homesick for a week and a half straight, and I have no guarantee she's gonna make it through school this week or daycare. I'm sick again after being sick, and I sprained my ankle. So it's been a hot minute. Hello, Nemo. Welcome. But oh, greetings. Thank you, Greg. Hello, hello. All right, so I have some notes to go over for the plan. So first, one of the notes I had gotten last time was to look into thematic relations. And this is where I was talking about the like seal the door from magic spell. And I Googled this. And this is basically the relationship between the meaning of noun phrases and the action of the verb. And I believe that I already have this addressed in a different way with the prepositional markers on unincorporated indirect objects, which if I pull that up, I can't remember who suggested it last time. I think that's partially these that I have. Yeah, these. I think these kind of fill that use case. And then the other thing that I've been working on from last time is going through the videos from Lycan on polysynthetic languages. I've started going through those videos. I have not gotten super far. I've been crazy busy. But something that I was realizing, because I've been really thinking about this as we expand into more complicated parts of the language, right? Because last time we spent most of the stream talking about clauses. And the thing I've realized is that I'm kind of hitting a little bit of a wall where even with this sort of limited use case, my lack of real understanding of these linguistic concepts is really starting to like bite me in the butt, where I need to understand the underlying reasons why I'm doing something here so that I can do it correctly and keep that consistent going over there, if that makes any sense. So I feel like I have reached a crossroad where I either need to kind of stop here with the complexity of these clauses, don't go any more complicated, keep everything really simple, and then just flesh it out from there. But I think that is not going to best serve me in working on these going forward. So I am going to, I think, work on building a better foundation and understanding of this. And so we might be stepping back going forward into some of the more, I guess, like baseline conlang things. Something a little bit more typical that you would see in a conlanging process, I believe. Again, I'm a wee conlanger, so I'm not really sure. But I believe that's what we're doing. And I was talking to Jesse about this, Jesse Peterson, who is the most wonderful, delightful creature on the planet, about sort of how I'm going to go about that. So she sent me a bunch of her notes, which I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with her like conlang year that she did, which was sort of like a series of like posts and like a guide of working through building a conlang for a year, which if you haven't checked that out, you absolutely should. I'm starting to work through it a little bit, but she sent me the like rough structured how she documents the grammar for that. And so I'm kind of thinking about how I can, from that, sort of understand what we're working on here. So that's sort of what we're going to be starting with today is just I want to look at what I have and try to break it down and understand a little bit more the features that I'm using and the choices that we've made here, because like we've made a lot of choices and we've done a lot of stuff. Like this is like a whole thing, right? Like I feel like this is a thing. Can you all hear my children screaming? I hope not, but let me know if you can. They're being parented right now, just not by me. But yes, this is the thing. We've done a lot of things. I just don't fully understand all the things that we've done, which is a little bit of a problem. Nemo says, Jessie is amazing and Conlanging is a very valuable tool for whoever is planning to make one. Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. It's very exciting. And I like that it's very like beginnery focused, whereas I know she has a really cool book that's going to be coming out here at some point that she's talked about on her stream and elsewhere. Oh yeah, you can hear the children. Let me make sure my husband is aware of that. They can hear the kids screaming on the stream. FYI. Okay. That will be dealt with. But yes, I don't remember what I was saying. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing today. But first, oh, hello, George of Conlangery. It's nice to see you. If you all haven't checked out, I mean, I feel like everyone here has probably checked out his stuff, but, you know, George is awesome. Very cool guy. We did some videos. It's cool. But I had a thought, and we're not going to work on it right now. We are not going to work on it right now, even though I want to, but I want to get your thought on this. So this goes back into the code. So I'm going to switch us over to look at that real quick so I can explain this idea, and you can tell me if you think it is dumb or not. Where's the code? Here is the code. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so right now, the way we have the spells, right, is I have these objects that contain, you know, all the pieces, and we can form them, you know, and I have the separate noun phrase objects that we've built out, and all of, where do we have it? Here. Building them looks kind of like this, right? Which I feel like this is fine, right? It's fine. But what if instead of this, and I'm switching back over to the presentation again, we did something sort of like a custom regex builder translator thing, which I don't know if you're familiar with regexes, but it's sort of like a thing when you're working with strings, so like text, to do pattern matching. So a really good example of this is like if you're trying to create a new password for a site, and it's like, oh, you know, you have to have this many characters. Some have to be uppercase, some have to be, you know, symbols. You can't have any 3 consecutive letters next to each other, that sort of thing, right? Like they get really complicated, and like regexes are a known and defined thing. Oh, Greg, yeah. Yeah, they're kind of awful. I also hate them. I work with them a lot and I just hate them because every time I'm like, how do I write this really complex regex for the thing I want? They're a pain in the butt. But what if we create a baby version that is sort of would take like this, right? Which I don't know what this is called. If you all know what these are called, but the like representation grammatically of what you're doing, what if I had something that could take those and then would just tell me what it is? So instead of having to define complex like objects for it and having to make sure that structure handles everything, I would, instead of having the object encapsulate the grammar, right? Like you can only put things in certain spots in the object, right? Because it's like a form and the grammar is there. I would have to know the grammar, but I can just essentially give it this sort of thing and it would output what it is, right? Conlanger is saying every single time I write regex queries, I have to refer to a cheat sheet. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I do too. They're a pain. But we don't need to be that crazy right now. So here's what I'm thinking. I started taking some notes, which maybe I can make this a little bit bigger. But what if for all of the like grammatical concepts, whatever those are called, like term for terminating, right? It can look that up and it sees, we have something here that's in brackets, and that bracket means I need to look it up and replace it. And it would store a little database of like what all of those definitions are. So like term is this piece, right? Like this is what we've decided those characters are, right? And so it would then replace this with whatever that is. And then I could also do like exact things. Like if I want like an actual like word translated, I could have like that could be like lowercase. Sort of like we have over on this slide where I have like happy, right? That's like an actual like noun. Well, I mean it's a word, you know. It's not like a grammatical word, it's a base word, I guess, whatever you call those. Um that could just be translated directly, and that could have a database too. And then I could also have some sort of generation where I can mix these things with trying to generate parts for them. So this would sort of be a more intelligent version of my generator where it can generate. Yeah, sort of like a root, George. Where this would be able to generate pieces within the structure that I already have. Because one of the things that's really difficult that I found with building these polysynthetic languages is that you have so many pieces that go together that it can make it hard when you're just looking at one to know how that's going to look when it's merged in with tons of other things. The lookup and replace sounds good, says Greg. And Python, I would have applied reverse Polish notation. Don't ask, it's complicated on characters in the string. Yeah, I mean, Python would definitely be a really good language for this type of thing, but alas, I'm not a Python developer. But that would be a really good use case for this type of thing. But I can use these symbols to sort of mock how you would do this in regexes, which like with like characters or digits or stuff like that, and have like, you know, things that people are familiar with, like C is a consonant, V is a verb, right? And I could have it be, I could have syllables, I could have ways to indicate, okay, there's an exact number of these things, so that if I was trying to write one of these spells, right? And I don't currently have the copula figured out, right? So instead of copula there, I could have like, okay, say I want to make it like CVC, or I just want a syllable, and it can randomly generate it. Bye, George. The way I make paradigms in Excel is a lot of copy pasting. Oh gosh, yeah. I buy that. You would use 2C. You would not use 2C, rather CC. Yeah, that would be a way to do it too. So I could set it up to like, because my thought was like if I wanted syllables, I mean, I guess I could just do them all individually, and that would probably be simpler programmatically. That's a good point, Greg. But anything that I haven't figured out yet, I could just have the pieces I do and then be like, okay, and this is going to be S for like a syllable. And I can generate 50 of them and see which one I like better. And I kind of think that would be cool because the goal here is to learn, right? I'm trying to learn how this works. I'm trying to understand all of this. And I think that writing these like this is really helpful for me, both because then I can remember when I look at it, what they look like, you know, and I know what they mean. And it's like, because I feel like because my memory is so bad, if I were to just look like at translated words, I'm going to forget what all the pieces are that make it up, which I feel like will make it difficult to kind of work with long term. So if I can just define them like this, right? And then I can build in all of the like sound changes, stuff like that. Like I think that would be an interesting idea. That would obviously lend itself towards a structure that is a lot less limited than I have now, right? So there's that, like, this would be more complicated to do, and I would have to know how to put these things together myself, to be able to just like we're doing now, how we're putting these together. Like I would need to understand it well enough to do that versus the code doing it for me. But it would allow more flexibility. So what do you all think of this idea of setting that up? Because it would definitely be a thing, but it might be a thing that would be more easily used or reusable. Because right now, all of the stuff that's grammatical with like building words and stuff in my code is very limited both to the exact language I'm working on now, right? Like it's custom built for this language. So if I wanted to make more conlangs in the future that are more involved than just a naming language, I will struggle with that because Like, I mean, I could like reference what I did here and do it like another way there, but none of this code is reusable. All the underlying generation stuff is. So if I did it like this, I could come up with a scheme that is reusable that I can use for everything. And I can incorporate it into the base part of my library, which would then mean, I mean, potentially, like, a lot of people have asked about like me making this code available to people. If I did that, I think it would be a more useful thing for other people and myself with other projects to have access to. So that's the idea. Curious what people think of that, but what is Greg saying? For syllables, I would define them as CV so that 2 can give you CV to avoid clusters mid-syllable. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, it would support all of those things, right? Like, I think I'd have to play with it to decide exactly how I'd structure it. But I feel like it could be really useful. This would involve a lot of working through the base library at this point, and changing how all that works, but I don't know. Curious what people think. But anyway, we are going to go back for now, and I made a list of, this is sort of the overlying structure of Jesse's Conlanging like example grammar sheet. What is Nemo saying? Oh, sounds good to me, though I'm unsure how it would work if you go for a more fusional language where there are no clear boundaries between the morphemes. So what would happen in that case, I believe, and again, I'm not super familiar, so tell me if this makes sense, but my thought is, let me go down here. This, right? So you write it like, where are we? Like this, right? You would write this out, provide it to that, but it would still have to send it through like your sound change system. So you would basically have to write the code yourself of how those fusions would happen. So like, okay, if these are together, this is going to change, and like build all your patterns for that. And like the code would have to programmatically like identify those and change those. Which would work if it's like a pretty, I guess, rigid structure like that, right? Like if it's really formulaic and, oh, if you have like this kind of consonant followed by this kind of consonant, when you're like merging your morphemes, you're going to change it like this, right? Filling out all those like Sunday rules and everything like that. Which I am going to have some of with this still. Like I do have a list of, oh my goodness. They're bringing my son downstairs to nap on the couch instead so that he's like less loud up here for us, but he apparently does not want to do that. But yeah, so I think that's roughly how it would work for a fusional language. But again, I haven't worked with one, so I'm not entirely sure if that would actually work. Based off my really limited, very, very limited understanding, like I feel like you could make that work for something more simple, right? Like if you're trying to go really complicated, obviously like you're probably a real conlanger that can just like do all of this stuff, you know, just by doing it. And that's probably going to like work better for you. Really ultimately depends on how much work it'd take to set up compared to how much use you'd get out of it. Yeah, that's a big point. Because it's sort of one of those things where it's like I could definitely reuse it with even with naming languages if I'm trying to build like, you know, like names that are compounds that actually mean something instead of just randomly generating things that match the like phonetic feel of the language. Like it would be useful for that. And it would give me more flexibility for using it in the future. I don't know. Cause I also like, again, I feel like I'm limited by my lack of understanding of all the things, because even just getting into this conditional mood clause that we were adding here, that like in order for me to be able to handle this in the code, which my code does not currently handle this, I'm going to need to significantly overhaul all of this object structure to make this work. And anytime I do that, because this structure is so rigid, anytime I want to add another way of like another structure, right? Any more complication there, I'm going to have to do a relatively significant overhaul of all the code to handle that, and then redefine all of my objects to fit that. So like there is going to be a large amount of work done either way, but it would also just make the spells, like defining them, like a lot more succinct instead of being like 18 lines. You know, they'd just be like, boop, there you go. And you basically would give it a string that would be like this whole thing with spaces in between instead of column differences. And then it would just be like, ta-da, here's your thing. I don't know. It could be interesting. But yeah, I'd in terms of the usefulness for other people or other languages going forward, because like as much as I really like the polysynthetic language, like it makes a lot of sense for this use case, but it might not make sense for other use cases. So it's not like every like, you know, mini language I do is going to be polysynthetic. So I would want it probably to work for something that's more fusional, I would imagine. So if anyone has any thoughts, if that would work for a fusional, or if there would be a way to do that, I'd be very curious to know. But okay, I feel like I've been doing just a lot of like chatting today, which is also partially because my brain is only like, I don't know. I'm sick. I mentioned that earlier, but if you can't tell from the way my voice sounds, it's been great. Okay, so we are looking at the structure from the Conlanging grammar. And if you all are familiar with how I've done this, I don't have most of this information, right? I mean, I sort of have some of it, but it's like, you know, and I was looking at the document because it's a full Word document with more information and tables to fill out and stuff. And I was looking through it and I was like, I do not know what to put in like basically all of this, which I think is a really clear, not example, but like it very much demonstrates my lack of understanding of what I'm even doing here. Again, because like I don't know the things. I don't know the things. I'm just doing stuff. But the whole sound system for me is much simpler because I'm not doing IPA. I am using like the theory of it, right? So like you have your chart, you have your different types of sounds. Like I'm using all of that and I'm picking my sounds based off like what makes sense based on groupings. Like I'm not just ruling out random letters. So like I could put my like romanized version of the IPA sound chart and show what I have in there. So like I could do that. Let's see. You don't have a proto-language and you don't need one for your purposes, so you can get rid of that. Yeah, definitely no to the proto-languages. So no to the sound changes, because I don't need to incorporate that. But yeah, I would just have the modern sounds and syllables, which I believe, and I need to go through the actual like Conlanging stuff more and talk to Jesse more, but I think that is mostly like this. I think this is mostly everything I have, and then I probably just need to add some more documentation for it, but like I can put this in a proper chart, you know. Okay, question for you real conlangers, which people I don't know. People think I'm more of a conlanger than I feel like I am, but I feel like I'm a fake conlanger. So just go with me for a second. Just go with me. I feel like with how I wrote my code and how I think about, and maybe this is because I'm like faking a language more so than actually fully creating one, but one of the patterns when you're conlanging, right, or naming languaging for a book where you're going to have a limited example set, right? Like maybe you'll have 30 names of people and 20 names of places and maybe a couple other like words you use. That is all the words of the language that you're going to have as an example. Maybe you have a couple phrases, but like it's very limited. So if you want it to have a certain feel with that really limited set, you have to be really like have a lot of really strong patterns that you use. And I don't know how much this is a thing in normal conlangs if you're actually developing a full language for the purpose of having a full language. But some of the things I really leaned into while doing this was having like a lot more limited syllable structures, having a lot more limited sound sets, a lot more limited like combinations of sounds, and having a lot of different weights for different sounds and clusters and just like letters in general, right? Like, okay, it might be really rare to have these sounds, but really common to have these. Because you can pick up if you have something that's really common, if you have like, 50 example words, if you have a couple really strong tendencies to have it look a certain way, or like, oh, this sounds in there a lot, you'll pick up on that and it'll sound distinct and like it's its own thing, right? And not just randomly thrown in there spaghetti words, right? So I haven't seen anything in the grammars that I've tried to look at, for example, where they talk about like, okay, this sound combination is really common, these letters are really common, and these aren't. Like, I've had to do a lot of Googling and research, and maybe this is just I don't know the right words or where to look for these types of things, but it's been really hard for me to find examples of that in other languages where it's like, okay, what are the percentages of having different things in the nucleus versus just saying it can be this, right? Like, I don't know if that kind of strict patterning is as common. So I'm struggling to find ways to express that documentation, but I mean, I can just have this, right? Um, let's see. Syllable structure and how sounds go together really defines how your language sounds, more so than what exact sounds you have. So phonotactics is the word. Okay, so that's more of a phonotactics thing. Okay, so leaving for real after this, but absolutely both selecting phonotactic restrictions and adjusting frequency are very useful for conlanging. Okay, so that is a common normal thing. I just need to find out ways to define that, which if we go here, syllable stressed. So there's not really a section in here because we have phonetics and phonotactics, right, as two separate things. And phonetics are more like the actual sounds themselves, right? And then phonotactics, I guess, are how those go together. So let me just throw real quick in here. Phonotactics. And that's going to be with like, restrictions and frequency. Sure. So that's something I definitely want in here. I don't have any stress/tone because my language isn't spoken. And I'm just assuming it's default English. I don't think that's going to be a problem for trying to like understand this better. So I think that's fine. Yeah. Let's see. What do we got? Yeah, any word generator will have some sort of frequency weighing. Okay, that makes sense. Regarding the common to rare sounds, you can arrange them in your array, have a weighted random pointer which favors the beginning of the array. Yeah, so the way I have this programmed is it's basically like a weighted map that you give into the random generator. So you'll give it like, it'll have a default weight that everything has. Like I think every letter or sound has like a weight of 2. And then I can give things higher weight, so I can override it and be like, okay, but like the letter 2 is actually going to have a weight of 3 or a weight of 4, or this is going to have a weight of 1. And then it will add up that total weight, and that becomes the total number of like the range of the random number generator, right? So say I have 50 letters or things that we're putting in here. They could be clusters, they could be letters, whatever, but say I have 50 of them. If they all have a weight of 2, that equals 100, right? Because each one would be in the map twice, essentially. So I would have 100 things. Every single individual item would have a chance, a 2% chance of being selected in the random generator. And then obviously if you change the weights, maybe it's in there 3 times or 1 times or not in there at all. And that's how it generates things. And that's kind of the structure I've gone with for all of the code for doing that. Hello, Aaron. Nice to see you. Polysynthetic languages are delightfully complex and messy. I am finding that. It's very common. Look at English. Skinting sounds like a real word even when it isn't, whereas I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Doesn't, while having the same letters, because NG doesn't go at the beginning in English. Yeah, okay. So it's yeah, because I know there's restrictions on where sounds and letters can go. And ordering that makes sense in addition to that, which I guess that all goes into phonotactics, or does that go into phonetics? I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. Hello, Love is Grim. I don't know if I've seen you on a stream before. That username does not sound familiar. If I am just not remembering, I apologize because I remember nothing, but nice to see you. Phonotactics, yes. Okay. So let me add, so we have restrictions and frequencies, and I guess that counts as restrictions, but all of that. Okay, so I'll need to document all that there. Syllable structures, yeah. So this is all, I think, gonna be relatively straightforward. I think my biggest issue is just gonna be like the terms for everything, which I think is part of why I need to do this. So I can try and like learn the terms better. Because when I chose these, I knew what they were, but then I've forgotten because I'm very useful. I don't think I need romanization because I'm starting with romanized sounds. Okay. And I'll probably simplify the background information section and just keep that super simple, but okay, basic grammar. Oh, you are new here. Technically bumped into your other videos. Oh, well, welcome. We're up to shenanigans, sort of. Well, I guess we're unshenaniganing is sort of the thing. I've mostly built this like spell language structure, which is sort of this structure. It's polysynthetic, and now I'm trying to understand what I did and break it down into something that would be more understandable and then can have more structure to then be able to branch out, because I'm sort of hitting a little bit of a wall here with this. Did you know the Inyopia Inuktitut word? Tusatsaranenkitulujonga means I can't hear very well. I did not know that. The wonders of polysynthesis. Yes, I agree. I do really like it. But yeah, so I need to break some of the documentation I have into these sections. And this is what got me earlier when I was looking at this. Nouns, right? Nouns. You write like the rules and stuff relating to nouns. And if I go to my slide on nouns, I look at this and I'm like, I don't have a lot of explanation in here about like the underlying structure of how all of this is working. Like I have a little bit, like a noun can be incorporated with determiners as prefixes. Not super duper useful. Like all of this, not super duper useful how all this works. Like it's very, I don't know. It's very out there. It's very I don't know how to wordify or describe the things we're looking at. So yes, I think that's a thing we need to do. And I'm not entirely sure how to actually do it, because I think I want to put it in the code, but we probably like I can start working on the text in here so we can see what we're looking at, and then I'm going to have it be like it'll be like a readme in the code section of it. Ooh, we're getting okay, hold on. Nouns usually have classes, cases, and numbers. I don't think you have noun classes. That is okay. English doesn't. Yeah, I don't think I have noun classes. No, I don't think I have noun classes. So that's probably good. And I guess I could just state that I don't have those. I guess that's simple enough. And then I guess maybe the way I've organized this is not the best way to think about it, because a lot of these things, like these just connect to nouns. They aren't nouns themselves. They're other things that I'll have to figure out what they are, because I don't like, I mean, they're prefixes, but in terms of like, well, these are prefixes, these are prefixes. Noun declensions, I assume, would go in the noun section. But a lot of this other stuff, I don't know where it would go in this chart. I assume declensions I could put there. Your nouns start with the basic root, then add your affixes. Okay, so like that, and then okay. So affixes, etc. Funnily enough, I'm trying to do that same thing with spells and curses. Ah, yes, it is fun. It is fun. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope this. I mean, I don't think this is going to help you because it's a whole different one, but like, I don't know, maybe it will. Who knows? Classes could also have grammatical gender. where each noun is either masculine, feminine, or neuter. Yeah, I don't have that, so I don't need to add that. So basic nouns, plurals. Oh yeah, and that's numbers. Okay, yeah. Numbers is plurals. And then how they go in a sentence, cases. How they then we have okay. Something else that Jesse sent me, which I don't think I have up. Do I have an easy way to pull that up? But it was like this giant Excel sheet with a bunch of examples of like different rules or features. I think they're like features that a language can have. And I think it's based off Graham Bank. Yeah, it's a Graham Bank features list for language documentation, which is probably more complicated than I need, but it has a lot of questions in there. Oh, yes, it's on Jesse's website. Okay, yes, that thing. This thing, which is cool. So I suppose once I get documented what I have, I can probably also scroll through here and try and see if these are things that I have. And then it has documentation where you can click on it and it tells you about the feature, which is helpful because I know things. So yes. Okay, so we will define classes, which I don't think I have, like you said. Sentences. I don't think I have those. Cases, numbers, declensions, definitiveness, affixes, that sort of stuff. Yeah, so we'll go over that. Pronouns is going to be pretty easy, I think, because I have... Where are my pronouns? They're in here somewhere. Pronouns. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I have pronouns here. They're prefix markers, so that'll be pretty easy to add, I think. That'll be good. And then, let's see. Add positions. I have no idea what that is. TBH. Add position is a word that shows spatial. Word to show spatial or temporal relationships or semantic roles. Okay, so to, from, of, under type of thing. Okay. Yeah, basically prepositions and postpositions. Yeah. So I definitely think I have things that fit into this, but I think with this being a polysynthetic language, I don't know if some things get like combined weird or like maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. So to, from, under, all of that stuff, I have those as these markers, right? This would count, these would be add positions, I think then. Because these have to do with the relationships between things. All of these prepositional markers, these would be... Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, so these are add positions. Okay. Plurality, we know where that would go. We know where pronouns go. Spatial determiner, that would be an add position too, right? I think. Add position. And then when I add distributive, would that be... Let me go back over. All, every. Would that be an add position? Having those in there? Where was I? Here. Once I add these in, I think. So I think everything in here is either goes in the noun section or in the add positions section. Yeah. Okay. So add positions. So we have our Spatial determiners you can chalk under definiteness. They are technically, though they are technically pronouns. Okay. So those would go. Yeah, those would potentially go over here. Okay. And then we have verbs, which verbs are going to kind of be weird for this because verbs can have so many things in them, right? Like verbs can have nouns because they incorporate all those things. So I'll probably have to because you could just reference things from other sections. That should be fine. I think that's how that all works. So I'll have to define all of this part and all the things that can go in a verb. And I guess probably define what can and can't be incorporated. Like I probably need to have like a whole section on how incorporating works. So how incorporating works. And then probably building verb stem / other parts. Verbs are the bane of my existence. They are the one thing I can never decide how they actually work. Fair. They're definitely the most complicated part of this language for me, I think. But yeah, so building the verb stem and other parts, I probably want to put my verbalizing morphemes here, my verbalizers that turn a noun into a verb. I think that would make sense to go in this section. Let me see what else I have. Okay, so verb stem. Yeah, so you have the roots, the action ones. That's all pretty straightforward. Verbs do a lot. Tense, modal aspect, it stomps me the most. Oh, does that all go in this part too? Where do we have that? Hold on. Yeah, this stuff that I have in the post verb, tenses, aspects, and intensifiers. With that's all verb section. Tense. Yeah. Tense, aspect, intensifiers. Yes. Okay, cool. Okay. Our list is getting very long here. Let me just move a bunch of this over here. Whatever. The numbers are all messed up, but it's fine. I think that's... Okay. How does... Oh, no, that must be under clausal grammar. Okay. We'll get back to this. Verbs are definitely the bedrock of highly synthetic languages. Yeah. Which maybe I should probably, once I understand this a little better, I should probably find an example like grammar sheet like this for something that is polysynthetic and see how they structure it. Because like maybe there's a reason for like, because they incorporate everything for the ordering to be a little different or the structure to be a little different. I'm not sure. But okay. Adjectives. I don't currently have any adjectives in my language whatsoever. Because they're mostly just like, I mean, the closest thing I have to an adjective would be like this, like being happy. I mean, that's, I don't know if that needs to go into adjectives. Is that even I mean, it's the state of being. I don't know if that even counts as an adjective. Is an adjective. Let's see. Okay, a copula is often a verb or verb-like word, sometimes called a copulative or copular verb. And this is saying it's a noun, not an adjective. Okay, so we'll have to include copulars. Adjectives are weird. They can be basic or noun-like or verb-like. Okay. So in this case, The verb and this verb, right? This like mood clause verb. This is a verb, our conditional mood verb. So all of this, I guess, isn't being treated like a verb in this language. So this is sort of adjectivey because they are describing a noun, which is, this person, the third person, animate. It is describing the state of them. So it is sort of adjectivey, the combination. The state of being, but I mean, if it's the state of being happy, maybe that's why copulas are like a separate thing, because they're just weird. Because I'm trying to think if there's any other use case I have for there to actually be adjectives, which I don't think they are. See, I make the nouns do all the work, and the verbs seem like it fights the whole sentence like a one-man army. Yeah. Okay. So especially for fusional languages like Spanish, which combine so much information in a single affix, example, comí, to eat, which is past tense, first person to. Oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I took a lot of Spanish in school. That's kind of coming back to me now. All of those, yeah. Copulas, M is R, and so on. Right. We're walking quickly. Okay. I don't know if I need adjectives at all. I don't think I need a separate section for that. I think. So I'm going to temporarily cross that out. For adverbs, adverbs describe a verb, walking quickly, whereas quickly is the adverb. So in this case, the closest thing I think I currently have to an adverb is my intensifiers, which are these guys. But because they describe the intensity of the verb, but otherwise I don't think I have any separate words for it. Yeah, I'm just not gonna, Greg, I'm just not gonna, I think, worry about this section right now. Like, I'm gonna, like, keep it in here. I have it crossed out, but I'll probably come back to it as I build other stuff. But I feel like step one is, like, documenting what I currently have and then figuring out what other underlying stuff I need to make it all work. But yeah, I don't think I have currently any concept of adverbs, so I don't need to worry about documenting that right now. Coordination. I have no idea what that is. Oh, wait. Going back, phonotactics. Is that where I would define, like... No. Where would you define, like, whether it's head final or not? Like, the ordering of, like, words. Because phonotactics is, like, all that stuff within a word or a syllable or something. Like, within the individual word. But then after that, I guess that's grammar outside of that. Future me problem method. I like it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I have no idea what coordination is or what questions are. I don't know if that's like how do questions work. Which general grammar stuff, so at the very beginning before anything else. So probably basics. And this could include like word order. I guess. I'm not sure what else would be in there, but so word order. Grammar. Let me Google this. What is grammar coordination? I should probably just find these sections later and watch them up in the Conlang year, figure out where those are. But coordination refers to the act of joining two or more words, phrases, or clauses of equal grammatical rank, typically using coordinating conjunctions like and, but, or. Oh. Interesting. That's a thing, obviously. And, but, or. I don't currently have that. I don't think that is present in my language at all right now. I'm not saying they're like, they're like later problems, future me problems. And then questions, I assume that's how to ask questions, which in this case, I mean, we have a conditional, but we don't have questions. So I'm probably going to cross that section off for now. I don't think that currently exists yet. Okay. I feel kind of good that we have like some of these basics and then like the more weird stuff I just don't have at all. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, coordinating is basically joining two phrases. You sort of have that. Oh, do I? With subordinate clauses in your conditional mood clause. Ooh, right where I have like interesting. I feel like that's like Okay. Let me think about that. Cuz maybe that comes up would that come up how that works when you have Yeah, well, it's subordinate clauses here. So I assume the grammar for that would be defined here. And this kind of stuff is definitely getting into things I do not understand in the slightest. Let me see if there's okay. A relative clause is a dependent clause that modifies a noun or pronoun. They're used to provide more information about a noun. They can be introduced by a relative pronoun or a relative adverb. My poor brain. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of understand the concept of the subordinate. No, because ours isn't actually a subordinate clause. I think we figured out. It's like sort of like that. Then there's complement clauses, which I assume is like this thing and this thing, maybe. I'm gonna need to look into this, I think. I probably don't have any of this super defined right now, given that I think I only have like one main type of clause, and then I started trying to get more complicated. The man who is walking there is where the thing in brackets is the relative clause. Who is walking there? Okay. Who is walking? Man who is walking there. The man who is walking there. So I definitely don't have those right now, I don't think. I think the closest thing I have to that is the way that determiners attach to direct objects where and I guess this is where it's a little weird for polysynthetic because it's not a clause, it's within a thing, right? So that relative clause, I could say like this person, right? Or yeah, like this person type of thing, like that tree. I feel like is that no, that's not even a relative clause because I'm not adding information. I'm just identifying it. So no, I don't think I have those at all right now. Unless I'm misunderstanding these. I don't think I have those. Participial? Participial clause. Subordinate clauses starts with a participle, which is a verb form that ends in ing or a past participle of a verb. Stepping on camera, I relax completely. The bomb exploded, destroying the building. Yeah, I don't think I have those either. Some languages just use pronouns for the relative clauses, I believe, so you don't need anything fancy. The man he is walking there is. Okay. Yeah. I don't think I have any of these. I assume these are like non-basic clauses, right? Like these aren't the 5 types of clauses that everything is, I presume. I think that's what a clause is. So does that mean that like this isn't a clause? Well, I mean, I guess this is a clause. I feel like this entire stream today is just Maddie tries to understand the most basic of grammatical concepts. I should rename the stream. What is a clause? It's a group of words that contain a subject and a verb, essentially forming a complete thought that can stand alone. Okay. Building blocks of a sentence. I have to have those then. Okay. So if that's what a clause is, yeah, and these are what you would call complex/compound clauses in English. Madeline in 30 minutes. What is a noun? Honestly, though, seriously, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, like, a noun, I know what a noun is, and I know what a verb is. But, like, we're really limited up in here with all this grammatical stuff. Okay, so any of these that can be standalone. So, like, we decided that... Oh, this ties into our incorporation logic, doesn't it? Because one of the things Jesse had pointed out was that I was incorporating things to the point that they weren't a full independent, like, thing anymore. So my verb stem, which would be like, you know, while it is being... okay, so while it's nighttime, that's a clause, right? While it's nighttime, that by itself is a clause. Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay. So, right, which is why we called it a clause in the first part. So then I beseech you, that is a clause. That's why we called it a clause. Look at us being smart. The whole verb, create rain onto the plants. And this is implying, like, from our topic marker, like, we know who we're telling to do this. So this is also a clause. Our verbs are clauses. Right? And then unincorporated, I guess. Is that also a clause? Is that also a separate clause? Is every single word in this language a clause? Is that how this works? Is that what we're doing with polysynthetic languages? Is that it's just word clauses? Is that... Oh boy. Oh gosh. Yes. The unincorporated goes with your verb to form a complete clause. Okay. 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 Well, so if the unincorporated bit was gone, right? And all I said was water the plants. That's still a complete clause, right? But we're adding a different additional information that isn't, like, within the greenhouse is not a complete clause by itself, so that it would be attached. But without that, the verb would be its own clause. Okay, still a clause. Yes. Okay. Look at me go, understanding basic grammatical concepts. Woo! Okay. Okay. So I feel like I should start this section with, like, mostly for me, because I'm a grammatical preschooler, breaking down how incorporation/clauses mix, whatever. And then those would be more complicated ones, which I don't think I currently have. I'm assuming I don't use any of these types of clauses right now. So that would be a section for me to leave for later, probably. And then I just need to understand the clauses that I use now, which that helps. That helps me think about that a lot. I've learned all the things. Not really, but okay. Sample translations, that's fine. I can just throw a lot of my example ones in there. Beautiful. Proto-roots. So this section was supposed to imply, so, like, if you remember at the beginning, this had, like, a proto sound section and then sound changes. And then the proto-roots were, I believe, words from that original proto-language that were roots that would then come forward. So I don't think I have this section at all, unless I want to just define some of my roots here, but I don't think I need to do that. So I think I don't need this section. What is Nemo saying? Hold on. Technically, your mood clause is what Jesse defines as a complement clause, but we don't need to go into specifics. Okay, wait. I do want to go into specifics. Mostly because I want to be able to document what I have to understand fully what I have so that then I can figure out what I don't have and what I need. And then we have a glossary. Language to English, English to language. Yeah. Okay, another question. For these kinds of grammars, I guess, this kind of documentation, will it normally define everything within it? Because I lean towards that's like what in my brain makes sense to do. So like where I have like all of my pronouns, this is my like pronoun table. Would that typically be like in the pronoun section of the grammar? Or would that be like in the glossary maybe? To go into the specifics, it is called a complement clause because it complements your previous. Oh. Yeah, okay. I think the other thing I need to have is going to be ordering of clauses, right? Oh no, that's over here. That goes over here. That will be addressed there. Got it. Which technically this is almost clause order would be more useful for me because I mean it's still gonna matter, right? Saying like if it's head final or whatever, still it's gonna determine how the incorporation ordering goes. But I feel like I'm also gonna want to include a note on incorporation ordering as well, just because like just to really break it down so that I understand that patterns. Document your roots. They're the very bottom base layer of your language. Okay. I don't currently like really have roots. I've been kind of making them as I need them and then like expanding them, but I feel like those would just go in the glossary, right? Or is there like types of roots that I'm not thinking about? Because like if I go over here, like I have warm, wet sky. Those are all roots that then I've like compounded into a word that essentially means like it's raining, kind of, you know, like rain. So I don't know how I would deal with roots there. Pronoun question. Yes, in the section, not the glossary. Okay. So the glossary is going to mostly be for non-grammatical words, right? These are like the actual nouns, the actual adjectives, and stuff like that. Roots, they could be your nouns and verbs where everything builds off. Okay, so this would sort of be my building blocks to then build up the glossary, would sort of be the idea. That's basically your dictionary. It is fine. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. And then maybe I keep, or I add a roots section that is just my roots. Whatever. I mean, I know what roots are. Okay. Very good. Okay, so what time is it? It's 3:03. I can probably go a little bit longer today. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, we're good for now. Where do I want to start with today? I feel like I don't want to look at sounds and stuff right now because I want to do that once I go back into the code, because the thing I'm going to have to decide is how I want to add in all the phonotactics that are just innately part of my code base, because I built it out to basically limit it everything down to which actually, let me pull this up because people might have thoughts on this. Okay, so the way, and like all of these are my underlying language stuff, but if I go into my utilities and go into, ignore the scrolling for a second, trying to find, well, it's just telling me ordering of things. Yeah, so like I have a lot of stuff built out like this where it's like okay, you know, these are special double consonants that I'm just never going to allow because I don't think it will ever really be pronounceable by a standard English speaker. I have like a lot of sections like that. I have illegal starts that I think are really hard for like just a generic English speaker. Because again, like people aren't going to be able to be immersed in this. I'm not going to be able to tell people how to pronounce things. Like they're going to just be reading it, right? So I have a lot of limitations like that. I have whole vowel clusters I don't allow in general. I have syllable issues that if this occurs, toss it. Lots of stuff like that, and then stuff within the generation that I don't allow. So I wonder, I don't know if I'll need to add, like, document that in this or just add a note that, like, anything that's not easily pronounceable is not allowed versus, like, I don't think I should have to document all of this, right? I feel like that would be excessive. My spell language rules. Because, yeah. Validate diphthongs closing. Yeah, I feel like I can just limit it to this and make a note for that in general because I don't think it'll matter that much, given that I'm not like, I don't know. I don't think that would matter. So let's go. We have a plan document. You can just add a note. You have the code to reference. That's true. That's true. Okay, so these are general language notes that we might want. And Greg thinks it might be helpful document for someone that does not have access to my code. That's true. I will say though, I don't really expect the only people honestly that I expect to be looking at this are you all on the stream and then like Jesse will probably look at it, but I'll see. I'll probably skip that for now because it's not something I need and that might be something when I'm like, I don't know, deepening it, making it more thorough that I'll add at a later point in time. But let's add a new file and let's call this spell lang. These are called like these. What did she call this in the document she sent me? Are these just called like grammars? Let me check. Yes, grammar. So grammar.md. Yeah, we'll add that to get. Okay. So we want to add all of our sections before in here. So I'm going to copy them over from the PowerPoint real quick. And I'll have to fix the formatting because it's not going to make sense. Oh, no. No, that's not what I want. Copy. Paste. Plain text. Yeah, we can deal with that. Copy. Paste. Plain text. Okay. So we will have background information, which I'm going to just do this for now. Sounds is a whole section. Let's see. Sounds. And then we have basic grammar. And then we have clausal grammar. Sample translations. Oops. Yeah. So those are our top level sections. And then we have some underlying sections that we can break out. So, okay. Sounds and syllables, modern sounds, syllables, phonotactics. I feel like that's going to be a little section there. And then I feel like this is all like phonetics, right? Kind of syllables Let's go in phonotactics or phonetics. Yeah, phonetics. Syllables, restrictions, frequency, all of that joy. Yeah. Basic grammar. Okay. So basics. We'll talk about the basics. We'll have nouns. We'll have pronouns. We'll have adpositions, verbs. And this is all kind of part of verbs. Whoops. Yeah, so breaking down this, whatever. Yeah, we'll keep that as a separate thing right now because we don't have to worry about it. Okay. Look at us go. All right, so I think I want to start with basic grammar, maybe? Incorporation, ordering, word, clause, order. Let me see if I have anything about this in the PowerPoint. So we talked about so basic grammar is that I would put like the fact that it's polysynthetic. Let me copy my whole like language features / notes section. Yeah. So what I have right now, so polysynthetic language, meaning high degree of inflection / synthesis, so they can construct entire sentences with a single root and lots of affixes. Mostly agglutinative, so it can be extremely regular, separate morphemes for each bit of syntax, blah, blah, blah. Oh, sure. It's going to be hard to read this right now. If I click this button here, oh, no, wait, this button, it'll like format it all nicely and do the wrapping, but from here, it won't. So spelling is just spoken only, but will be written in a book phonetically, will be encountered. Okay, so this is more like background information. This section. So I'll put that up here. And I can deal with that later. Ooh, says love is grim. Okay. Word order, headedness, syntactic alignment, and syntheticness. These are the 4 things I have in that section for my grammar docs. In the basics. So, yeah. Word order, headedness, syntactic alignment, and syntheticness. Okay. We can expand that out. Okay. So let's see if we can break this down. I'm mildly afraid of the word order headedness thing. Let me go over to the plan and see if we wrote down what it is here. This is just when we were brainstorming the language. I don't think I wrote down anywhere. Okay. I don't think I technically wrote it down what the word order is, but I should be able to figure this out by looking at some of the examples. Okay. So I feel like this is definitely one of the parts that I need help with. Okay, let me switch back over to the presentation. which I feel like part of the reason why I've been so confused with this is because it's polysynthetic, so it's not actually like words that are being ordered. So I guess if I'm trying to figure out what my word order here is, I need to look at this, which has I don't think I ever intentionally thought about it. So subject, verb, and object. Verb, object. But then the subject, I feel like does go here. Subject, verb, and then object. Yeah, yes. Okay. Okay, cool. We're all on the same page here. Okay. Let me write that down real quick in the code, wherever it went. So SVO. Yeah, so subject, verb, object. And I know technically this is word order, right? Because that's what this is. But it's not really applicable as a word order in this language, right? Because it's not ordering words, it's ordering things within words. Like, I'm not sure if there's a different term for that in a polysynthetic language like this, but it applies to components being incorporated, I guess is sort of what's happening there. So that's that. Yeah. Okay, so then headedness. Let's go. If we are head final or head initial, I think we're head puts them before the head. I think we are okay, even within a word you do have an order, which is what it is referencing. Okay, so we're good. Oh, and we are ordering our clauses: subject clause, verb clause, object clause. Good point, good point. Okay. So I think everything kind of goes at the beginning. So like the fact that we have our topic marker earlier, head initial is what I see because of SVO and the prepositions. Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that sounds like what we were doing. Yeah. Okay. Let's switch back over to the code. Okay. So I can probably just probably don't need to have it whatever. It's fine. So we're head initial here. So word order is SVO, which is subject, verb, object. I can't imagine forgetting what those mean, but let's not underestimate my ability to forget things. And then this. So this applies to the ordering of components being incorporated within a word, as well as for ordering clauses. Hello, Katrina. Nice to see you. Popping in to say hi. This also means you get to put your basic adjectives that are not verbs after the nouns, unlike English. Ooh. So basic adjectives, aka not verbs, would go after nouns. Yeah, well, that actually makes a lot of sense because my determiners are, well, yeah, okay. Okay, I think that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm trying to think if I want to add examples here. If that would help me. I don't know for SEO if I really need that, but maybe it could help. So for example, if I grab, where's our basic spells? Subject, verb. Well, I don't actually have that in most of these. I guess the best example for it would be the mood clause. Does that actually have all those parts to it? No. I'm trying to find something that has like all the things in them, which I guess I can just adjust it to be like that. So let's do oh my god, this is killing me. I beseech. Oh, that is true. I beseech you. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's a great example. I don't know why that one wasn't like. Okay. I'm clicking around too much. For example, I beseech you would translate to copy. What do you call this thing? Because I feel like I need to like put this in quotes or something. Or we'll do that maybe. Yeah. Would translate to or would be formed like that. Maybe that's the right terminology to use. So for example, I beseech you from like blah, 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 where we have subject, verb, object. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Okay. So then head initial, headiness, which is good. I mean, that basically just means like the head word appears at the beginning of the phrase, meaning sure. So if I wanted to find an example of this, that would probably be best shown with head of the fingers at the beginning. I think what a good example for that would be. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't need a separate example for that. Read book becomes book read. Yeah, I don't have any, like, I'm trying to think if I have any examples of that, like description words. Because I don't really, I just build like compounds. Would my create warm rain onto the plants, would this count? Paste text. Because this part, like this is our verb really, right? So I don't know if that would be, yeah, because this is our verb. Well, now how we verbalize, that's probably not a good example. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. It's something that I actually have that I can put in there. Okay. So we have word order. We have headedness, which kind of goes into the word order a little bit, I believe. So then we have syntactic alignment, which syntactic alignment with the warm rain part. Yeah, I think. Yeah, does that like, does it count within like compounding? Because it's like, I guess it might work with compounding. Your warm, yeah, so warm sky water is a rain, but then the create verbalizer at the end turns that section into a verb. So like that's how the verb is built. So like technically I guess you might write it slightly differently, but adding that create on the end verbalizes the noun. But I don't know if the order that compounding is done counts as an example of head initial. Let me look up syntactic alignment. Okay. Oh boy. So syntactic alignment refers to the patterning of morphosyntactic devices in a language, agreement, case marking, word order, that distinguish internal and external arguments. Accusative, ergative, or active alignment. Oh boy. Would this just be like, so you're using a noun to verb converter? Yeah, I have a whole table of verbalizers. Which here, let me pull that up real quick. I can show you. Present, share screen. I wish I could like share multiple at once and just switch between them. That'd be so nice. Where is it? Here, yeah. So they're my action morphemes. So I have causative, negative causative, alternative, creational, destructional, instrumentive, reflexive, and then a base for things that are already a verb. So like stir, I think that, yeah, stir has the base on it, and that just means to stir. Whereas if you want to like have like starting a fire, you would use fire and then causatives, which means like making fire as the verb. Hammering is using the hammer noun, is the hammer verb, that sort of thing. So compounds work weirdly. Sleepwalk means walking in sleep and is head final. Oh. Interesting. So your syntactic alignment is nominative accusative, if you remember correctly. Nominative. Hello, Miles. Your syntactic alignment is nominative accusative. I feel like I have these things, like my declensions. Let's see. Syntactic alignment, nominative, accusative. Let's look that up real quick. It's a type of morphosyntactic alignment in which subjects of intransitive verbs are treated like subjects of transitive verbs. Oh boy. Okay. We're getting into stuff today. All right. Let's see if we can figure this out. Yes, Smiles. Hi, Nemo. Okay. Shocker, you're chronically online. Okay, we're going to figure this out. We are going to figure this out. Let's switch over to this slide. Maybe you are about to all truly witness me actually trying to understand something that I don't understand at all. So nominative. I want to make sure I really understand what this is before I say that I have it. So grammatical framework treats subjects of transitive and intransitive verbs It's the most common alignment system for languages in the world, including English. Yeah, so that's probably what I have. Subject of verb is marked nominative, while the object is accusative. For example, in Latin, Julius venit means Julius came, and Julius Brutum vidit means Julius saw Brutus. Languages with nominative accusative alignment can use the passive voice to change transitive verbs into intransitive verbs. I do remember a video on this. I do remember watching a video on this. I think it was one of Artifact Soon's earlier videos when he was going through all of this. He does a lot of like the chart graph things that I liked. I might have to go back and watch that. But transitive versus intransitive. So transitive verbs pass action from the subject to an object, while intransitive verbs do not require an object to be complete. Oh, okay. So like, I eat bananas. Okay. I threw the rock versus the rock was thrown at me. Yeah. Okay. So So for this, the subject of the verb is nominative and the object is accusative. I think that is, I think you're right. I think that is what we use. Because if I go here, the subject is nominative. The direct object is marked accusative. Yes. Okay, cool. I don't know why I had to go through that whole rigmarole just to be like, yes, I completely agree with you. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's cut that. Let's switch over real quick. Stop screen. Present. Share screen. The code. One of these days I'm going to share something random with you on accident and you're all going to be like, what are we looking at? Okay. So nominative accusative syntactic alignment. Treat subjects of subject of verb is marked nominative and direct object is accusative. Great. That's what we have. Great. Yeah. Okay. So that's probably our basic grammar with syntheticness. Okay. So I feel like for syntheticness, this is where we pull in these notes, right? So yeah, I feel like that's what we have. So it's polysynthetic is our syntheticness, I presume. High degree of synthesis and mostly agglutinative. I think that all makes sense to go there. Word, order, clause, basics. I think that's everything we need in that section. I think that makes sense. Do I remember? Ooh, look at us go. I remember how to format things. And by that I mean I can click a button. Bold you. Bold. Okay, I'm gonna look at the view. Yeah, that looks sufficiently nice. Nom is doneer and accusative done to. Got it. I'm always trying ergative. I'm always trying ergative and absolutive. Oh, nice. You got me craving kebab now. Okay, so let's go on to nouns. Yes, nouns. So yes, I do not have noun classes at all. I don't have that concept. So I probably can just write that. I should probably name this language at some point. So does not have noun classes. Fancy. So then noun cases. We do have noun cases. I have. So in the presentation, I have my declension table as noun cases. So like nominative, accusative, vocative, dative, etc. I have my plurality prefix markers as cases and my pronoun prefix markers labeled as cases. I'm assuming I want all of those in this section now, although we talked about sort of, well, I guess because it's how I have these. Okay, so cases, whatever. So we have, yeah. So noun cases, well, we have declensions. We have, I can spell declensions. We have plurality. Plurality, prefix markers, again, I can spell. And I have pronoun prefix markers. Possessive pronouns. I think that's would all go there. Plurality. I feel like we talked, oh yeah, we talked about pronouns being down here. So given how did I label those incorrectly and my pronoun prefix markers aren't, like, are those noun cases then? Or did I label that wrong? Like, are both of these not actually cases, even though I put that as the column header? Like, am I just incorrect there? Either way, I think we want a table. Which, do I have a fancy way to add a table, or do I just need to do this manually? Let me copy this guy. Let's go over here. Okay, and we only need, I'll do this. Okay. So we have noun case, what the actual suffix itself is, and then I guess like description. I guess I could potentially put the like whatever those like not symbols. Oh gosh, what on earth are those called? It's not symbols, but let's see, hold on. Plurality prefix markers, it could be in another section called number, and the prefixes are like pronominal possession as opposed to an actual noun. Number. And the prefixes are like pronoun. Okay, we'll look at that. We will look at that. I'm mildly confused by that, but I need to look at it more closely, and then I think it'll make sense. But let's get these in here real quick. We have nominative, marks subject, default. Right, something like that. 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 of these. So we have nominative, accusative. Yeah. And I think I actually have these documented better in the code. So I'll just leave this empty and I'll copy the documentation from the code momentarily. Yeah, we have nominative, accusative, vocative, dative, locative / lative, and instrumental. So this is ACC, vocative is VOC, dative is DAT, locative and lative is LOC, and INS for instrumental. And then CH, SH, F, TH, and V, I think is what we have there. Okay. There you go. So these are my noun declensions, which I guess I can label it like that. So I guess for documentation, I could say something like noun cases are indicated by how a noun is declined. Something like that. And then can I make that declension suffixes differ following a vowel or a consonant? But I haven't figured out those all yet. So we have that, potentially. What if the word ends in a consonant? Yeah, so they're different if they end in a consonant. These are the ones following vowels. Mostly because I haven't had to worry about that yet. So far, all the cases I've used them have fit this. So I feel like technically the only use case I actually have for this one is that, where it's following a U. But I can add like a to-do. Oh, do I remember how to do that in a... I don't remember how to format that so it actually shows up as a to-do in a text file like this. But okay. So we have that. So then we're looking at plurality and pronoun prefix markers again. Why did I label these as noun cases? In the noun case part, let me just pull this up for a second. Okay. Okay, so singular or multiple as a noun case. And then speaker inclusive, exclusive animate, exclusive inanimate. Which we're looking at nouns right now. So these are possessive determiners. So we're saying we could have that pronominal possession as opposed to an actual noun. Let me look up what that means. Pronominal possession. It's the use of pronouns to indicate ownership of something or something. Oh, yeah. They replace nouns to indicate. Yeah, I think that's probably a good point. So yeah, his apple versus the man's apple. So yeah, we can just call that but because they are prefixes and they do go on a noun, but there aren't noun cases. So yeah, I don't think these are noun cases. I agree. And yeah, I think that I don't know why I called these noun cases. I don't know what they actually are, but whatever. Okay. So let's go back to the code. Present, share screen, the code. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think this is the extent of our cases, which actually let's do that. That's a little bit easier to read. Yeah. Okay, so those are our noun cases. So we've done noun cases. So then the next one is numbers or plurality, which for us is a prefix. So in our case, plurality is indicated by prefix markers. End of. Super simple. And possession. Possession is indicated by using pronominal possession prefix markers on the noun. Note these are same pronoun prefixes used to mark subject on a verb. I feel like that's good to note, right? Okay, so that covers numbers, plurality. Yeah. And then it'll basically be like duplicated in the pronoun section, but I think that's fine. So let's do this. I really need to remember what that symbol's called, but for plurality, we'll have the prefix. Prefix. I don't think for this one we need a description. Oh, abbreviation. Yeah, that's probably what I'm looking for. We'll abbreviate abbreviation because it just feels right. So we'll have the abbreviation for it. We'll have whatever the, I guess, like plurality is, and then what the prefix is. So we have unspecified or implied, which is unmarked, which should probably be consistent. And then we have singular, which is an N. And then we have multiple, which is S or S verb if preceding an S. Don't know how else to... I assume there's like a better way to add those kind of notes. And then we have... Let's see. Do I actually use this anywhere? Trying to see if I actually use this anywhere where I would know what my symbols are. Or my abbreviations would be. I don't know if I actually use this anywhere. I'm assuming there's like common abbreviations. Let's look that up. Linguistic abbreviation or singular SG, I guess. SG. And it looks like for multiple or plural, PL for plural, I guess. Wikipedia has a list of glossary terms. Okay. Yeah, I probably need to just look this up. So there's no abbreviation for this. So I feel like, I don't know, not that cool. It's fine. I don't think, yeah, because it's unspecified, right? Okay, so then possession is going to be a little bit more complicated. Because it combines with the plurality, actually. So we'll have the abbreviation. We'll have the possession. And then we'll have the unspecified plurality, which I guess this is a little bit fusional, isn't it? We'll fix this. Oh, I'm not doing spaces. Sure. Okay. So I do have this in a few spaces. We'll get those added. But we have speaker speaker inclusive. We have speaker exclusive animate. And we have speaker exclusive inanimate. which I need to reword this. Because this isn't for pronouns. For pronouns, we would probably go with speaker. Thank you, Miles. It's fun. It's a fun possessive system, I think. It's mostly because I wanted to. It's that like really leaning into the incorporating things and having markers for everything. For your multiple plural marker, you have SV. If before an S, does that mean that any random vowel can be chosen or a specific one? Right now, I have any random vowel. I have not added any specific, like, it has to be this. There would just be a vowel. I assume there'd be some rule for it, but I don't currently have one. It's just you can't have an SS, so. And I actually ran into that case, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll stick a vowel in there, and it'll be fine. Okay, so. Oh, there may be a lot of affixes and such, but the sets you have chosen jigs together. Thank you. Thank you. I have no idea what I'm doing. But sometimes it turns out fun. Okay. So since we're using these as possessive, this would be not speaker. This would probably belong or possessed by or. I'm getting myself confused. I'm trying to figure out the right way to change the wording for possessiveness on a noun. So this is speaker inclusive would be like my. So my, I think this is the equivalent of my / ours. And then speaker exclusive animate. I mean, this is the equivalent of like, well, I guess it depends on which column we are, but yeah, let me just write all these out real quick before I get myself too confused. I'm trying to just label this properly. This one, so singular, this is the equivalent of my. Multiple would be the equivalent of our. And then exclusive, and I feel like I have this. Oh, I literally have this in my table. Wow. So animate, this would be hers / his equivalent. And this would be theirs. I think that's the right one of they. And then this would be its. And this would be also theirs in English, I think is the translation there. So, and this is just A, this is O, this is U. And yeah, a lot of the rules to make all this work is definitely not super duper well defined yet, which I think is part of like me needing to go through and figure all this out. Okay, so the singular plurality, which is so combining the N and then the A. For here we have AN. For, I feel like I need to put this at the end. My. Yeah. And then this, oh, it's formatting it already, is on. This is un. Multiple plurality becomes sa, so, and su. Yours and y'all's as well for speaker exclusive animate. Speaker exclusive animate. Oh, yeah, true. Yours. There's y'all's. I love y'all's. It's like my favorite. Y'all's. Surely it's. I'm just being pedantic. It is. Oh, you're right. Good call. Good call, Nemo. That would have bothered me later when I would have noticed that and actually been paying attention and been like, no. Why don't you like this? It's fine. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And then I just need the descriptions. So I know that I have... Okay, let me just copy this here real quick. I have paste text. I use this. Slide. Yeah, I think that's the only example where I use this right now. Is that the only example? Third person. Oh no. Speaker. I must do this in a couple different ways. Although one of these I think is more slightly different case. But I have these. Oh, my voice corrupted it good. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so I think for speaker exclusive, we just have speaker exclusive. Or no. Speaker in. Her true intentions. Mwahaha. You got me. You caught me. There's secretly an evil scheme here. Animate. Animate. And then we have speaker. Oh, wait, no. Well, exclusive. Inanimate. Not animate. I'll have to look that up. This is interesting depending on how it goes. The plurality marker SV can often be confused with possessive markers and create weird scenarios. I like it. Yeah, so one of the weird goals with this, and I guess this is my mwahaha evil intentions, but for plot reasons in my book, the way that this language is going to be utilized is for basically the main characters have to translate a grimoire in order to break a spell. It's like a heist. It's a heist story, but like they have to translate this, this whole grimoire and find the spell they need, figure out how to construct the spells that they need. So there's a lot of like translation shenanigans. So one of my goals with this was both for it to be straightforward enough for me to pick up on patterns, but also have there be enough use cases where someone who speaks something that, I'm saying is equivalent to English for, reasons would have weird problems. And then I'm hoping that as I'm like plotting out this specific part, I can sort of like figure out what those translation problems would be and actually figure out, okay, well, this spell, if you translated it wrong and you thought it was this, but it was actually this other thing, what would actually happen, right? So they're like, oh, I think this spell is going to do this. And then they cast the spell and then something completely different happens. So that is one of my goals here. Speaking of grimoire, I've been down the blood on the clock tower rabbit hole. I am unfamiliar. Blood on the clock tower. The sheer opportunities for ensuing chaos. I'm going to have to look into that. I will look into that later. Okay, but back to this. Third person animate was how I used this in other cases. I don't know. I think this is fine. And then because the plurality goes after, I feel like what we would then have potentially is like SG, like .sg or .pl, type of thing. Just to add all of that in there, which I don't know if I need to have the abbreviations for all of them, but... Oh, it's a social deduction game, kind of like Mafia or Werewolf, but better. Okay, actually though, I'm like writing this down. So I really, really like social deduction games. They're one of my favorite things. So like I really enjoy playing Coup. I really enjoy playing Bang, which is like half an Italian, but it's like a card game version of like Werewolf where like you have secret roles in like a western town and you're trying to like bang the right people, and by that I mean murder them, but there's tons of innuendos. And then my whole family plays Werewolf like every single gathering. Like we have it all memorized and we just create it from paper every time we play it because we're crazy. Um, Add the plurality markers to the heading. Add the, what do you mean? What do you mean, Greg? Add the plurality markers to the heading, like up in here? Like explain how they're added or have more abbreviations? Do not buy it. It's like $150 and the wiki and online community is so substantial enough that you really don't need to purchase. Okay. Blood on the clock tower. That's so... I'm going to play that with my family. Yeah, like we've never bought the full werewolf thing. Like we look up various variations and we have our own house rules and we all just have it memorized, like how to do the talk through part that like we just do it. It's a whole thing. We actually, well, okay. I probably shouldn't share all my family's like things that they do. That's probably not good, but like we may or may not have at one point had extra rope and utilized it for thematic purposes within our werewolf game. That's all I will say about that. But anyway, we have problems. It's fine. So plurality markers to the heading. God, I've trauma dumped on a stream before. Fair. I don't know if any of my family watches any of this. I know they've like occasionally see my videos because like they know I do the thing, but I don't know. A lot of the people I work with have over the course of the last like 4 years I've been doing this have slowly found me and they're like, "Hey, you're this person that does this thing online." And I'm like, "Oh," you know. So they see it sometimes. The abbreviations to the headings of the table where you have singular plurality. So like add another column here for those, like another column for the abbreviations when I'm using like singular speaker inclusive. Okay. Let's see. So we have this, we have possession. I could definitely add, or maybe it would be, maybe we would just do this. And then it would be, I feel like this makes this really long, but we would have singular. I think this is what you were saying. Let's see. That looks so long. That looks so ridiculous. I feel like there's got to be a better way. And that just looks like I'm saying not a number. That's all I see when I look at that. I was trying to make a werewolf visual novel game once, but I think my ambitions were too big for it to be well executed. Oh no. Yeah, that does sound tricky. Oh my gosh. We have a dog visiting us right now, and she is a puppy. A very large puppy, but she is a very loud, large puppy. Yeah, I'll do the other ones later, but I think that's fine. We have, okay, so we have declensions. Okay, so then the concept of definiteness, like V or A. I have, okay, in the PowerPoint, let me find it. I had talked about doing distributive determiners. Oh, not really adding the SG. Oh, I like that better. Wait, I like that better, Greg. Hold on. Brilliant ideas must be addressed before I forget them, because they will be gone so quickly. Let's do SG. We'll just do that. I feel like that's going to be nice. I like it. Okay, so I have the concept of distributive determiners, which is like all, each, every, half, some, one. But I don't think that goes with definiteness, because that's like going through the idea of there being like a difference between oh, what is this? It's like countable versus uncountable things. Is that what we're is the difference between those? Or no, that's not this. I don't think I have this. Definiteness. Let's see. Distinguishes between identifiable and not. Okay, so maybe I'm right. Identifiable versus non-identifiable references. Definiteness is closely associated with the use of the definite article or determiner in languages like English and Hebrew. What is known versus generic? Yeah. I feel like at some point I looked at doing this. I'm trying to remember if I ever actually did it, because it would make sense as one of my determiners that go on the objects. Because I do have a note of having distributive, like all, each, every, half, some, whatever, which I haven't done yet, but like I have the concept of it. So that would be, I feel like that would go into that category of there being like the specific one. Although I do have, no, my spatial determiners wouldn't really cover that. I'm not sure. You don't need it just saying you have an extensive demonstrative determiner system, so it's fine. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I was trying to think if there's like any reason to have it, but I don't think right now there is. So I'm gonna, up here in the noun section, I'm gonna just say there are no. Yeah, the distributive concept was raised on the last live stream. It is a fresh idea. Yeah, I definitely think I want to add that. So I'll document that wherever that makes sense, which I don't know if I figured out where that goes yet, but there are no definitives. Period is implied from demonstrative determiner system. We'll just go with that. Otherwise, I don't know. We'll go with that. Definitives. I feel like that's spelled right. Okay. Oh, spatial determiners. We have them down here. A lot of languages just say this man, that man instead of the man. Yeah. You can get rid of that completely in English and use that, and it will rarely be significant change. Hell, even context could do it. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, so because I mean I think that applies. Oh my goodness. That dog is very cute, but she gets upset by the weirdest stirring in a cup. Freaks her out real bad. Okay, so we have spatial determiners here. Distributed. My distributive determiners would go down in here too, right? My that would all go here, I think. So let me find where I have those. Yeah, so my spatial determiners right now, spatial, which these are either, well, we'll call them affixes. So spatial determiner affixes are used to indicate, say, are used. Hold on. Determiners. Ooh, good call. Good call. Yeah, headings are good. Headings are very helpful. Yeah, let's do that. Will it let me do, can I do 4? So we have spatial. Distributive. Yeah. I like that. I like that. Okay. So we have, good call, Miles. Okay. What am I doing? Okay. So I have the determiner itself, what it means, and the affix. So I probably want this structure. And I have 3 of them. So we'll copy this friend. So we have, oh wait, I put that in the wrong spot. We have proximal. We have medial. We have distal. Proximal being this / close. We have that being referred / pointed to, which is like the part of the whole spell thing, right? Where you would say like, I don't know, light this fire, meaning the one like in front of you that contextually is like this. Or you can say like that one essentially, which is the medial one, and you can point to it for purposes of the spell. And then distal would be like, you know, that / far. And this is /di or ri. Oh, I haven't documented this anywhere. Oh, wait, I didn't do the phonetics part or whatever. You can't start it with that sort of sound. So there's 2 options whether or not this is used as a what? So a prefix, or what's the one in the middle? Postfixes at the end. There's a name for fixes in the middle, but I don't remember what it is. But like that's what it is at the beginning. This is what it is if it's in the middle. Ti, and then si. Infixes. Yes. You all call that. Okay, thank you all. You all rock. Yes. If it is an infix, it's here. And if it's a prefix, then it has to be, the sound has to be changed to fit the language rules. Did I not change this one? Or did I? Oh no, that one's fine. That one was fine. Because we decided that wasn't the same kind of sound. Tag yourself, I'm infix. Oh, circumfix. Ooh. Okay. I am inbroke. Oh my gosh. Okay. We have decided this is prox. I think this is MED, and this is probably the IST. It's probably, I don't know if I actually had medial anywhere. Let me click through the spells I have real quick. Yeah, MEDI. That's what I did before. So they're all 4 characters because they obviously have to like be consistent because otherwise that would be sad. So I feel like I probably need to have some comments about like these are just like what they are, but this doesn't tell you anything about like what they do or where they go, which I guess someone who knows what they're doing would know how to imply that from previous information. But for my own purposes, it might be worth actually specifying that directly. Oh, I never even figured out what these would be. Okay, hold on. I haven't done any of these, so we're gonna leave these all like mostly empty. Just like an empty table. And have a note. The template of affixes is super helpful. Yeah? Like how I did this. Determiners can indicate all, each, every, half, some, one, etc. question mark. And that's all to do. Okay. So you should also document the order that the affixes are attached to. That's a good point. That's a good point, Craig. Okay. So what I have here, possessive comes for the, yeah. Okay. So when it comes to determiners, so determiners are markers that go on the beginning or that go before a noun. So go before a noun and can be incorporated into a verb along with the direct object they mark. What do you mean you don't have 5 different affix paradigms because you forgot what you made as it is sitting in a hidden sheet of your spreadsheet that you also forgot about? I feel like there's a lot of that kind of pain going along with all of this. Okay. So the order that I have used here, which let's see. Which ones do we have? We have, oh, I haven't determined that so far. Okay, let's see. When ordering determiners, let's see, spatial distributed. I feel like, I don't know if there's like a order that should be used here based off like our headedness and all of that. But I feel like because I have plurality closer and possessive further away, I feel like distributive would be closer. I just feel like that fits the pattern. So it would be distributive marker. And then further away would be the spatial marker. And these would also go, and then inside of this would be determiners. They follow the order spatial marker, then determiner marker, and then markers. Yeah. To conlang is to endure pain. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I feel like I had something useful somewhere. Minorly related to this, but yeah. So, blah, 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 and go before any plurality slash markers. Bum, 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 bum. No. Like that. Yeah. That helps with the order. We have spatial, distributive. This is like so many things. I don't know why this freaks me out, but like, look how many things we have. I feel like I've done so many things. Like having it all in one document like this makes me feel like I've done so much. Oh, we haven't gotten to the, oh, add positions are separate. We decided add positions were separate. Okay. I don't know if I have any other affixes right now, but let me go back up to the top of nouns. I feel like I want to add to do general ordering examples where I just add like, you know, what the top level ordering of everything is. Conlanging is both a pain to endure and a carnal need to create. It's the most terrifying yet proudest moment. Oh, yeah, seeing all, yeah. Yeah, it freaks me out a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. I keep feeling like I have no idea what I'm doing and I know nothing and I've learned nothing, but like this is like a lot of stuff for someone who, you know, couldn't tell you much of it, literally anything about anything linguistically a year ago. So, you know, I will acknowledge some level of growth and progress at least. Okay. So, oh my gosh. Okay, I need to wrap this up soon. We are doing one last thing. We are doing pronoun prefix markers, then I need to go. Yes, trophy. Thank you. Okay. Because we basically already did these, because our pronouns is just like our possessives. So I can just copy that and move it down here. So pronouns are indicated. Well, whoa. I feel like this should not be in this section because, well, no, they're a separate section. Okay, never mind. We're good. So pronouns as subjects are indicated with prefix markers on the verb. Yeah, right? Oh, this also means you don't get to call yourself an imposter anymore. It's okay. All of us have imposter syndrome. Yeah. Conlangers are either to themselves keepers or willing to give you some helpful advice, whether warranted or not, but a very tight-knit community. Honestly, yes. Like, these streams, doing the conlanging on this stream has been one of the most fun things I've done on this channel. Like, I've really enjoyed collaborating with more one-on-one for some of the specific world building stuff, which has been great. But like, just the community aspect where you can sit here and do stuff and chat with people and they're helping you, like, it's been really nice. I really enjoyed it. Like, I think it's half of, okay, maybe not half, but it's a very large portion of what's been like what's motivating me, I think, to lean more into the conlanging stuff is just because it's been so enjoyable and fun doing it alongside the community and meeting all the other conlangers. Like, it's definitely a lot more tight-knit, I think, than the world building community is. I'm also a yapper, so you may ignore me as you wish. Fair enough. I will note that. Yeah, so we have pronouns as subjects are indicated with prefix markers on the verb. So we basically have the same thing here. I don't know if I want to have the same abbreviations or if I would want to change those. But in this case, this would be I. This would be we. She, him, they. And then this would be them, I think, right? That's still them. And then it. I think that's right. Maybe we can do this and make this a little tighter. Okay. I heard someone walking by, and I thought it was going to be my husband being like, it has been so long. Wait, has he already texted me? He did text me. Okay, I'm wrapping up now. Okay. Yes, we are wrapping up now. We're doing it. And the you and y'all. Oh yeah. Should be you. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so first person singular. I'm gonna add just a to-do. Abbreviations to be like first SG, first person singular. Got it. Okay. You need to get him to subscribe so you can influence your grammar polls. That's a good thought. He's joked about getting on my streams, or in my Discord, and just like labeling himself like with the name of just like Madeline James Wright's husband, and then like randomly just saying weird things. I don't know. It would be funny. Okay. I feel like this is where I want to leave it today. I feel like I've made a lot of progress on this. Like this is a lot of documentation, and I'm feeling like I understand more and I'm less overwhelmed with all of this. And I appreciate all of your wonderful help. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and everyone like crossed your fingers that my sprained ankle heals and that I am not sick anymore and that my children are not sick anymore and that we have like a week. All I ask for is like a week of health with no sickness going in this craziness. The compiled document. Good call. We can scroll through this real quick. Yeah. Look at all this. Look at all this that we did. So nice. I wonder if there's a way to like fix the headings for this. I could probably bold it, but for now, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. Thank you for the good vibes. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a really great weekend. I need to go or I'm going to just keep talking. Okay. See you in the next one. Goodbye. Goodbye. How do I